everybody, this is Nick Amonette, and this is my findings on the topic of student academic perception using an LMS. Now, an LMS is a learning management system. The one that is used for this study is Canvas, and Canvas runs very similar to Desire to Learn that we've used in class. It has discussion threads, it has assignments, tests, etc. And so this study was aimed at seeing how students perceive using the LMS and if it has an impact on their overall academic perception. The research question chosen for this study was, how does the use of the different activity components, assignments, wikis, discussion boards, data resources, and quizzes within an LMS affect high school student perception of academic achievement? The goal was to find if there is some impact using different components of the LMS on student achievement. If it goes up, if it goes down, it stays the same. Because in order to see if something's effective, you need to be able to look at, do the students believe that there is a purpose for using it? Does it actually help in their eyes? So this study wanted to see if there is a true impact, positive or negative, that LMS usage has on students' academic achievement, their perception of academic, as you will. The method chosen for the study was to provide students with a survey at the beginning of the study, actually continue lessons and teach using the LMS, ensuring that students had a chance to utilize every component of an LMS, from assignments to quizzes to communication to surveys. Everything that was offered in the LMS, students were used, and then given a final survey, which is the exact same survey, to see if there was any kind of growth or change in opinions. Also attached to the final survey was an open-ended response questionnaire where students were able to list specific things they learned, they liked, disliked, usage for, etc. All kind of things that could be used using Canvas. On both surveys, students were asked the same questions. They were asked what components of Canvas they were familiar with. They were asked which ones they believed had the largest impact on academic success and the least impact on academic success. Now, in the initial survey, students were asked on what they believe will happen. On the final survey, students were asked, what do you actually think happened, to see if there's a change in belief versus actuality. They also were asked, what feature do you like and what feature do you dislike? Once again, the first one, what do you think will be the best one? And which one do you dislike the most in the last one? And the last survey also included a overall thoughts of the impact of Canvas. I want them to give me some distinct, exact information on what parts of Canvas were positive, what parts were negative, what parts worked, what parts didn't work, all that. Responses on surveys was voluntary. There was no reward for students completing it. It was just at the end of the time, students were given about 15-20 minutes in class one day to take the survey, and 85 people turned the survey for the first one, and the same 85 the second one. All kids participated in the survey. Participants in the study were students who take either My World History or AP Psychology class. There were a total of 85 students involved in this study. There were 38 males and 47 females. As you can see on the slide, I've broken down the ethnicity of male and female. There were 11 African Americans, 67 Hispanic, 7 identified other, and 31 white. Upon analyzing the results of the initial survey, some themes appeared. It became very obvious in going through the survey results that students did feel that there would be a positive impact, or should be a positive impact rather, the use of practice quizzes on their overall opinion of success. Another one that appeared was that tests. Students felt that by taking tests online, they would be able to see the results and would feel better about their position and better involved in academics. Conversations previously before the study began, students had shown all the time that they enjoyed taking tests on Canvas online, primarily because they get immediate feedback. Some students comment they liked being able to know how they did immediately after a test, instead of having to wait for the grading period to end for teachers. Some things that appeared as being they felt were negative. They didn't think discussion threads had much of a play in academic success. Some students felt that these were just ways of completing a worksheet or getting through time instead of actually learning something. And many believe that email, which was the number one of the least impact, that email wouldn't really have much effect on their overall feeling of learning, because to them they didn't really understand how using an email in Canvas would have any impact on academic success. After the completion of the final survey, just like in the initial, I took some time to analyze the themes to see what was appearing. And just like in the initial survey, some things popped out. Students felt the practice quizzes had a positive impact. Students felt that using email and discussion threads have a negative impact. Students increased their viewpoint of videos. The adjustment between videos was a lot higher as a positive impact in this one after having seen the videos and completed assignments. It's neat how in thinking about the two, the divide between negative impact and positive impact on the final survey was a lot lower in areas like discussion threads and email than it was in the initial survey. It seems that students, one could imply from this that students, after using it for instructional purposes, felt that there might be an impact. While it still was predominantly negative, there at least was an area of growth, and how by using it some in a short period of time, students were able to realize the effects it has and see the importance of using certain elements of elements. Upon analyzing both surveys, I took the positive impacts, what students felt was the most positive, because this was a more telling one involving the change. There is a large change between the first and second survey for discussion threads, as far as being positive. There's a large change between first, second of email and videos. There was not much change between practice quizzes, and there actually was a decrease in tests. This shows that students felt that, for as far as academic purposes, as far as feeling more secure academically, that using discussion threads, practice quizzes, email, videos, files would have more of an impact, so they increase. But using things like tests and the learning modules as a whole, they felt would not have as big an impact on their perception, but it does have an impact on academics overall. When analyzing the questionnaire, there were three main themes that came through. One was teacher communication. Students multiple times stated how they appreciated the ability to communicate with teachers outside of class when they're working on assignments. They appreciated that, especially as they got closer to test time, that they were able to send a question to the teacher and get immediate feedback. They also enjoyed, if they're working on an assignment or activity at home and they got confused, they could email a friend or email the teacher and be able to actually get communication and get highlights. Another thing they liked was checking grades. Students, particularly the students in the AP Psychology class, enjoyed the ability to check and forecast grades. They were able to see where they exactly stand and judge based on what assignments they turn in, what grades they might receive on assignments, how that will impact their grades. This did help on adding to a little more of the creativity and the overall working on assignments, because an assignment that has a huge impact on grades, the kids put a lot more effort into. The negative thing on this was that when they found out that there was a assignment that had very little impact on grades, the students tended to not spend as much time working on the assignment. The last one was 24/7 learning and preparation of schoolwork. The students enjoyed and said on several occasions that the biggest impact that CAMS has is the ability to be able to see teacher notes, to see previous assignments, to take practice quizzes, all these things to help prepare for schoolwork and continue learning outside of class. One kid commented that they had missed class, and so they enjoyed the fact that they were able to catch up without having to come after school and meet the teacher or work hard. They were able to sit down, look through the notes, read a couple assignments, and get back on pace. So the kids really enjoyed the ability to continue learning outside the classroom. Three implications came from the study. One was that if teachers use the LMS to meet the needs of students and focus on what the students need, it will have a positive impact on academic success. Students, by evidenced by the survey results and comparing the two, students did see an increase in the use of discussion threads and the use of videos to have a positive impact on their learning. So that was one of the implications that came. The second one was that an LMS can improve communication between students and teachers. It allows for students to have that chance to be able to communicate with teachers. They may be shy in class, they may not want to speak out, and they can still get answers they need, because some students don't have the same comfort level to approach teacher after school or during class, and this allows the student like that a chance to still communicate with teachers without having to do it in public. A couple of kids made comments that they liked to communicate teachers outside of class, so they didn't feel burdened during class and didn't feel like it was a bother to them, the teacher. The last implication was that this actually may have a positive impact on ESS students. There's not official, but by having such an increase with, or such a positive impact of using the practice tests and the notes and all that students felt they had on their achievement, there's a possibility this could work for ESS and ESOL. This will be a future study, though. This study had involved no ESS or no ESOL students, so it would be a great place for future studies to take this and apply it to students that have some level of accommodations, ESOL or ESS. Canvas will allow for accommodations through allowing certain kids certain assignments. It will have accommodations through allowing certain kids certain aspects on tests, reading aloud, all that. So that would be a good future study to look at. There were some limitations to the study. The first one was the overall representation of the student body. With only 85 kids, it was a very small representation compared to the whole student population. Another limitation was all students were chosen based on having a specific teacher for class. This did not open the door for more kids. They had to have one teacher to be engaged in this study. Another limitation was the overall timing. The study took place over a few weeks, so there was no longitudinal study. It was just a very quick snapshot. So if a kid missed a couple of days during the study, that may skew some of their information. Another one is it took place in the middle of a grading period, and so some of the kids may or not been used to as much of some of the components of like forecasting grades and assignments because in the middle of a grading period they weren't there yet. Also, some of it dealt with was due dates in terms of him. A lot of kids had due dates on the assignments were after the research ended, so they didn't feel the need to turn it in as much, so they were not as engaged in using it as they would be at the end of a grading period. The last one is a study was conducted in only one content area. This skews the data a lot because it shows the use in social studies, but doesn't show how it can be used in math or language arts or science. That's another area for a future study. It'd be good to expand this to multiple content areas to see how it affects math, how it affects fine arts, how it affects language arts. In conclusion, the study was a positive study. There was a positive impact on student perception of academic achievement. Students did indicate that they felt more prepared for the tests. They felt more prepared for the rigors of the course, having used the LMS. Test scores on that test were up higher. In one class, by using LMS more frequently, the average went up about 15 points. Another class went up 10 points. Another class went up 7 or 8 points. So there was a positive impact on student achievement, and students said they felt more confident, they felt more prepared for the test. So that was a positive impact. This does lead into lower reliability, though. This test could very easily be repeated, and it would need to be for these results to be conclusive and say that using an LMS definitely does have a positive impact. It would need to be repeated in multiple settings. This is a ongoing study. This is one I will do again later on the semester and even next year, just to see and test more. Is there truly a positive impact on student achievement, or is it just this one class? Because if it's a positive impact, it shows that using LMS in a high school classroom does have some impact. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and thank you for all the feedback.